Welcome to the Strange Files, where reflection becomes emergence, taking ordinary things and spiraling them into life principles, metaphors, and new perspectives on possibility, seeing life from new angles. Have you ever looked at an ordinary object and thought, that can teach me something? Such as, a whisk can become a reflection on connection. A train track can become a way of understanding progressive recurrence. Even your housework can reveal something about maintenance, rhythm, and life. This podcast is a place for spiraling life principles through ordinary things and for exploring the reflections, patterns, and perceptions that shape how we move through life. It's an exploration about noticing and about what becomes possible when we see from new angles. I often use ordinary things as metaphors because everyday life can carry more meaning than we first notice. It's less about giving answers and more about opening exploration from a different lens. It's not overthinking. It's evolving thought that can provoke new perspectives. Awareness can refine expression. So hold on to your seats. This ride could get a little weird. I'm Lisa. Welcome to the Strange Files. Why does adulthood sometimes feel like emotionally running through Mario levels, collecting tiny rewards, while chaos repeatedly tries to knock you into a pit? I think that Mario might actually reveal an uncomfortable amount about human existence. Because when you really look at it, Mario is basically a tiny Italian man repeatedly entering dangerous environments while emotionally surviving chaos for unclear financial compensation. And that feels suspiciously relatable to adulthood. Because life really does start feeling like a Mario level sometimes. You wake up, you dodge problems, you collect tiny rewards, you try not to emotionally fall into lava before the end of the day. And somehow, there's always another level waiting afterwards. But the strange thing here is, Mario never starts at the final level. He moves through the game gradually, world by world, level by level, obstacle by obstacle. And I think that we actually forget that about ourselves all the time. People expect themselves to have perfect emotional regulation, complete healing, life purpose, financial stability, inner peace, functioning nervous systems, while emotionally standing on level 1, fighting turtles and confusion. And I honestly think that is a lot of pressure for one tiny nervous system. Because us as humans really do treat life like we're failing for not completing the entire game immediately. When actually, most growth happens level by level. You learn patterns, you adapt, you develop timing, you slowly become more capable at handling things that once completely overwhelmed you. Which is exactly how Mario works too. Because the first time you hit a difficult level, it feels impossible. And eventually, you learn where the traps are. You stop panicking every time chaos appears. And suddenly, the thing that once destroyed you emotionally becomes manageable instead. And weirdly, Mario also reveals something important about failure. Because Mario falls into pits consistently. Gets hit by things, loses power-ups, runs directly into avoidable chaos, emotionally misjudges jumps. And yet, the game does not end forever every time he messes up. He just resets the level. Which actually feels like something us as humans struggle with massively. Because we tend to treat mistakes like permanent identity, instead of temporary step backs inside larger progression. And I think a lot of us would feel less trapped if we realized failing a level doesn't mean that you are the level. It just means you're still learning how to move through it. And then there is the power-ups. Because us as humans love pretending we should be able to survive everything with absolutely no support whatsoever. Meanwhile, Mario fully understands the importance of mushrooms, extra lives, protective stars, emotional turtle avoidance, and maybe us as humans need power-ups too. Rest, support, connection, healing, regulation, joy, humour, safe environments. Because trying to navigate difficult levels with zero support systems is significantly harder than we like to admit. And the strangest part about Mario might actually be the objective itself. Because Mario goes through chaos, danger, repeated setbacks, collapsing bridges, emotional lava exposure, all to save the princess. And yes, that sounds heroic, but also slightly concerning when you really think about it. Because Mario's entire existence is basically self-abandonment disguised as heroic persistence. This tiny man is out here risking his nervous system level after level, with absolutely no conversation about emotional boundaries, rest days, or whether he actually wants to keep doing this anymore. And we definitely do this too. Overextending ourselves, over-sacrificing, over-functioning, running through emotional chaos trying to rescue everyone else, while quietly abandoning ourselves somewhere in the process. And sometimes never stopping long enough to ask, wait, what actually happens to me at the end of all of this? Because technically, Mario doesn't even get a reward. He simply rescues the princess and then immediately prepares to emotionally do it all over again in the next game, which feels suspiciously similar to burnout culture, people-pleasing, emotional rescuing, proving your worth through sacrifice, tying your purpose to saving everyone else. And weirdly, that's where the whole thing suddenly becomes much more human. Because maybe life was never supposed to become endless levels of self-abandonment in pursuit of external validation. Maybe we were supposed to experience the journey too. And one of the strangest things about Mario is the hidden worlds, the secret paths, the invisible blocks, the alternative routes people only discover if they stay curious enough to look differently. And maybe we miss a lot of possibilities in life for the exact same reason. Because sometimes people become so focused on surviving the level, they forget to explore it. They stop looking around, stop experimenting, stop staying curious, and eventually life becomes survival movement without discovery, which sounds extremely exhausting. But maybe that's a real reflection underneath all of this. Mario was never trying to complete the entire game in one jump. He just kept moving through the levels, sometimes badly, sometimes confused, sometimes emotionally running directly into chaos, but still moving, still adapting, still learning, still progressing. And that might be one of the most human things about all of it. Growth rarely looks graceful whilst you're inside it. Sometimes it just looks like trying again after falling into the same emotional pit for the 17th time. And maybe we would actually judge ourselves less harshly if we stopped expecting perfection and started recognizing progression instead. Because life probably was never supposed to be one perfect, uninterrupted level. It was always going to involve obstacles, hidden routes, setbacks, power-ups, chaos, emotional turtles, and the occasional moment where you somehow survive absolute disaster with one life remaining, which honestly feels just like adulthood in general. Tea is optional. Weirdness is encouraged. And if you've been wandering around the woodland with me today and discovered you are one of us, you can find Strange Soul Society on my website, lisaellenholistictherapies.co.uk. That is where the campfire lives. You'll find all of my socials, projects, and the Inner Dimension community awaiting for beautifully unconventional souls just like you. Until next time, beautiful soul.